Hey guys, the Nostalgia Nerd here, and I watched the Goldbergs on Australian TV for the first time last night, which is Thursday night Australia time, and it got me thinking, is TV getting better than what it was? Because there was a period back there where TV was utter bullshit, and it was all crime and mugging and kidnapping and sexual assault and all that other stuff. Home and Away was particularly guilty of this, I found, and it still kind of is guilty of this. But for the first time, I actually said to myself last night, you know what? The Goldbergs looks pretty interesting. I'm gonna sit down and give it a watch. And in case you don't know the Goldbergs, it's about this kid named Adam Goldberg growing up in the 1980s. It's basically a televised version of the creator Adam F. Goldberg's childhood. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it so much so that after last night's double episode finished, I went onto the Plus 7 website, which is like a sort of on-demand TV website, like your Hulu, your Presto, your Stan, your any manner of sort of streaming TV. And I looked up the first four episodes of season 2 of The Goldbergs. But as I understand it, America is up to season 3, so I think Australia is a bit behind the times in regards to the Goldbergs. And so, anyway, I tuned into the Goldbergs and I was just literally blown away by how well they captured the 80s. Like, you had people with cassette boomboxes, record players, cassette players in the car, and cassette players in the car, and the old 8-track tier cassette tapes that were sort of a big thing in the 70s and the early 80s, and retro TVs, the really old computers, like your first Apple computer. I think it was the first Apple computer anyway, I don't know, but there was my one minor annoyance that I had though, and that was sort of the inaccuracy of the dates. Like, they had Erica and her friend Lainey, I think it was, watching the video for the Bangles' Eternal Flame, which came out in 1989, I think it was, and you had Beverly Goldberg and her friends watching Charles and Diana's wedding, which it was in 1981. So unless they taped it on a VHS and we're just rewatching it, there's no possible way that that could have happened unless it was repeated on American TV in 1989. Like, I wasn't even born in the 80s. I came along in the 90s, but I do have a lot of cassette tapes and whatever that I've gotten secondhand that date back as early as like 1980. I think the earliest release I've got is Dark Room by the Angels, which came out in 1980. No, I've got one earlier than that. I've got Rumours by Fleetwood Mac, which was originally put on the big vinyl record in 1977 and then re-released on tape when tapes were sort of becoming a thing in the late 70s. And yeah, I was basically just blown away by how they got all this working retro technology when you get some smart asses on eBay selling them for parts or not working. Like, what's the point? Why would you do that? Like, if people want to buy something off of eBay, they want to make sure that they're actually getting like a working product and not just a useless piece of junk that you can't use. I've had that happen to me once before where I bought a Sanyo brand cassette Walkman off of eBay, and you put the tape in and the tape just plays really, really slow, and then sometimes it cuts out while it's playing. I was not happy, but anyway, that's another story for another day. Who's my favorite Goldberg? Well, at the moment, I'm tossing up between the main kid, Adam, who's like this really nerdy kid walking around with a video camera, filming his childhood, and he basically just videotapes every little thing he does. Like, he videotaped himself and his brother Barry, I think it was, forming a two-person garage band with just Barry on guitar and Adam on the drums, and I think Barry was doing the singing, and it was pretty good. But I uh, I noticed that they didn't have a bass player. Like, you need to have a bass player for a band, otherwise it's gonna just look weird. It's sort of like having a band with no drummer. Like, who does that? Like, even if your drummer is unavailable when you're going on tour, you get a stand-in. So they sort of needed a bass player to sort of look more apart, and maybe some lessons in singing, and not just making complete idiots of themselves like they were doing during the episode. But so yeah, it's a toss up for me between Adam Goldberg, who's the main kid, and the mother Beverly Goldberg, because she just cracks me up with a lot of the stuff that she comes out with. Like, you just be sitting there minding your own business, and randomly Beverly would be talking to the dad, whose name I forget, and she'd be trying to get him to, I don't know, like, review the wedding vows, which was in last night's episode that I saw on TV. And she just randomly, you should be talking, and then she just randomly drop a swear word. Now, obviously, the swear words are bipped out by the TV network for censorship and all that, because they've probably got, like, little kids that are watching it and they're not supposed to be, because it's on at, like, 9:30 on a Thursday night, and it finishes at 11:30 or 11, because it's like a double episode, and obviously, like, a little kid is gonna have school the next day. So, yeah, Beverly just cracks me up with a lot of the stuff that she comes out with. Like, at the end of the second episode last night, she was giving her family gifts, but they were things like embroidered pillows with their face on them, t-shirts and ties with their face on them, and she gave Erica, the daughter, like, cash. Right, but this wasn't any cash like you use in the shopping center. Like, it was Bev bucks, and you could apparently trade them in for hugs or something. And this exchange before Erica was given the money just cracked me up. It's like, Erica, I know you're too cool to wear any of this stuff, so I got you cash. I love you! And then Beverly gives her the cash, and it's like, because it's got Beverly's face in it instead of, like, George Washington and all the other people that you see on the American dollar. It's like, what the hell is this? It's good. And Beverly just says, it's Bev bucks. You can exchange it for hugs. And Erica just so Erica's just trying to back away and sort of not get hugged by Beverly, who is sort of overprotective of all of her children, but in particular Adam. And another funny part that got me yesterday was when I was watching it on the catch up was when Dad and Barry went to the hockey game, and the dad wanted to leave early because of traffic, and so they left, and they get home, and Pops, the grandpa, was like, "Oh, I'm so jealous of you two. Like, you just saw history in the making, and blah blah blah. The hockey player scored, and it's like, but he's the goalie. Goalies can't score." And the grand Pops is like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." And so Barry and the dad watched the replay, and yeah, turns out because of the dad's refusal to stay to the end of the game, they missed the historical moment where the freaking goalie scored a goal, and so Barry just got really pissed off, and a couple of days later, like in the terms of the show, he got the old TV remote or TV knob, because that's how it was done in the 80s. You didn't, like, you had to full on get up and change the channel, and so Barry takes off the remote, and the dad and Pops are they're wanting to watch something historical, and it's just Barry has taken the remote away, and it's like, "Barry, give me the remote." "No, you took away my hockey game. I'm gonna take this away from you. Give me the remote. Give me the remote." And then it just kept going like that for like 10 minutes, and it ended up with Barry giving the dad the remote but refusing to go to any more hockey games with him. So that just cracked me up when I saw that. And yeah, at the same time as this was going on, I think it was the same episode anyway, Adam was not cast as Jesus in the musical of Jesus Christ Superstar. So Beverly went to the school and called a favor from the principal, and she said to the principal, "Look," something along the lines of, "Look, one of these days, you remember when I did something for you, and you said that I could come to you for a favor," and she says, "That time is now. Like, you gotta give Adam his own competing musical to compete with the original school musical of Jesus Christ Superstar." And it was really funny. Like, it ended up being this thing with everyone on rollerblades, and Adam was just being a little shit as a director, like ordering everyone around, getting really too into the whole, "I'm the director of this musical thing, we're gonna do it my way," and all that stuff. And so Erica, the sister, who was blackmailed into going into it by Beverly so that she didn't get grounded because of her beer and a fake ID, she goes, "No, that's it, I'm quitting the musical." And so at the end, Erica and Beverly talk to Adam and basically remind him that he's being a tool and you can't sort of get what you want all the time. So I am a Goldbergs fan now, and not just because of the old technology, but I feel that the character development and the way that the members of the Goldberg family are written is just something that we haven't seen in TV in about 15 to 20 years, where the characters are lighthearted, funny, caring, and they don't necessarily have all these issues with gun violence and alcoholism and drugs, which is something that unfortunately is even prevalent in Australian TV today. Like, again, Home and Away being really guilty of this, and Neighbours in recent years has sort of been trying to decide whether it wants to stay true to its roots or follow what Home and Away is doing. And it's I haven't been able to sit down and watch a good TV show in years, like not since I gave up watching the newer episodes of Home and Away, and that was in like 20. When was it? I think it was in 2010 or 11. It was 2010. No, it was 2011 because that's when the Braxtons arrived. So, yeah. So, if you're looking for a new comedy to watch, like, and there's literally nothing else on TV, as there has been on so many nights on Australian TV, like, I would really recommend that you give the Goldbergs a try because it's really good and it's funny as all hell. And if you're a nostalgia buff like me, you've got all the old technology like your cassettes and your records and your videotapes and your 8-track if you're old enough to remember them, which obviously I'm not because they were gone by 1992, which is when I was born. But it's a really good show, and I would recommend giving it a watch just to sort of see if you like it. Because, and in closing, I would just like to say that if every comedy tried to be like the Goldbergs, okay, obviously not every comedy can have your old technology, but if every comedy could try and be as well written as the Goldbergs, and if every drama could sort of, yes, have the criminal element, but not be like overkill with it like Home and Away is, TV would be in the same state that it was 15, 20, 25, 30 years ago, like going back to the days of Number 96 and The Box and Prisoner, and TV needs to be like that again because otherwise nobody is going to tune in and it's going to be the end of TV. But that's another thing for another day. I just felt that I should do this editorial to sort of give my opinion on the Goldbergs, and there will be a full review as soon as I can get a hold of some clips to put in between the bits where I cut to myself. Well, I'm the nostalgia nerd, and honestly, I do think TV is on its uptake.